We have worked a little bit on angles and their measurements and triangles, but one thing we have not worked on is protractor. So protractor is a clear plastic piece. Most of you have seen them. We had them in the classroom. It looks just like this. And it's used for measuring an angle, telling how wide or narrow the angle is. So we did talk about a 90-degree angle is a square angle. And I will tell you that none of the angles on here are 90 degrees. This one is very close, but it's just a little bit bigger than 90 degrees. So there's no square angles. But if you remember, we talked about acute angles, which is anything less than 90 degrees. So anything that's smaller than 90 degrees is acute, A-C-U-T-E. And anything wider than 90 degrees is obtuse, O-B-T-U-S-E. So we do have an obtuse angle on here, a couple obtuse angles on here, and we have a lot of acute angles on here. The most confusing thing about a protractor, if you ask me, is that it has two sets of numbers. So sometimes it's confusing which set of numbers to use. These go from 0 to 180. If you remember, I told you before that a straight line is 180 degrees. And then this one starts over here at 0 and goes 180. Now, if we were in the classroom, I would give you a minute, but I bet you could figure out, why are there two sets of numbers on here? So it depends on which way the angle is opening up, right? So this one, the angle starting here and then opening this way. So you're using these smaller numbers here. This one is the same way. But then over here, you have an angle that's going the opposite way. So this one, this line is 0. So you're using this number here and going all the way here. So that's the only tricky part, is you have to look at which way the angle is open, because this one could be pointing to 70 or could be pointing to 110. But if you look at it, you can see that's an acute angle. It's smaller than 90 degrees. So if it's smaller than 90 degrees, because 90 degrees would be straight up and down a corner, a perfect corner, you could turn it into a square. And since this one is smaller, we know that it cannot be more than 90 degrees. So if you look at the angle, you can kind of tell, is this going to be more than 90 degrees or less than 90 degrees? So I'm going to go through these answers with you right now. So this first one, so if you haven't done it yet, go ahead and pause your video. And then I'm going to show you, actually, I'm going to hold up the answer key. So when you are done looking at those numbers and the information I just gave you, then you can push play on this video. And I will hold up the answers and you can check them and make sure you got it right. Okay, hopefully you're ready. So the first angle, I guess I'm kind of going backwards on the page. It doesn't really matter which one we do first. But this one, as you can see, I told you, was not 110 because that would make it bigger than 90 degrees, and it's not. So it's only 70 degrees. This one is wider. It's almost 180. So this would be an obtuse angle, and it is pointing kind of in between the 150 and the 160. So it is 155. Okay, these next two, I told you this one was really close to 90, but it's a little beyond. So that one is 95. It's in between the 90 and the 100. So that's 95. This one is 20 degrees. And you always have to write a degree symbol when you're doing your angle. When you're writing it, you always do that little circle, which means degrees. Kind of like when we do temperature, we do degrees as well, but we do degrees of angles. This one is very, very tricky. So this one doesn't start at 0. It goes from 40 to 140. So you have to think about 140, take away 40, and what do you get? 100. So it's not that tricky, but it's just a little bit different. And then this one as well. So you're going to have to subtract So you're going to do the bigger number, which would be 160 minus 90, because you can't do 20 minus 90. But you could do 90, take away 20. So you could do 160, take away 90, and you get 70. Or it might be easier to do 90, take away 20. See how you could do either one because of how the numbers are. Or you could count by tens. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. So that's your introduction on how we use protractors. I know it's not quite the same because if we're in the classroom, I'd give you one and let you measure the angles yourself. But just for a quick introduction, I hope that you had fun, and that's a pretty easy math page. Have a great day.